Welcome to the Coach Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Keren Eldad. Settle in. We're about to make you feel really good. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Coach Podcast, the Coaching Masters season. I'm Coach Keren Eldad. This season is called Coaching Masters because it's about those who teach not from knowledge, but from embodiment, from the lived journey of breakdown, breakthrough, and becoming. Today, I'm joined by someone who has risen to the very top and helps thousands do the same, Craig Siegel. Craig is a globally recognized performance coach, the best-selling author of the Reinvention Formula, the host of the CLS Experience podcast, and the creator of the 3R method. How this all began, however, as you'll soon learn, included heartbreak, burnout, debt, and grief. Craig spent 13 years on Wall Street chasing the wrong kind of success until everything in his life told him it was time to pivot. His father got sick, his personal life was unraveling, and yet something awakened. He found running, he found Kabbalah and Abraham Hicks. He found purpose. As Viktor Frankl wrote, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. That's exactly what Craig did. We're going to talk about all of it, the mindset, the soul work, the family, the faith, the fire, and even the fun. I'm so honored to have you here. Thank you so much for being here, Craig.
Wow, that's a heck of an introduction. That's a lot of build-up. It's funny, when you were saying that, you were taking me back almost to the exact times I could feel the environment. But I'm super pumped to be here with you. Thank you for bringing me out to Austin. This is great, and no place in the world I'd rather be than right here with you.
I feel the same way, and there's something about your voice that feels so familiar. Speaking about taking you way back, let's go way back. There's so much that I found so interesting in researching your story, reading your book, revisiting many of your podcast episodes in which you were absolutely masterful with each one of your guests. I hope I can do you any modicum of justice in comparison. But one of the things that really struck me was that you talked essentially about a mundane and even sheltered upbringing. So the awakening doesn't come until quite a bit later. But was there anything about that childhood state of relative bliss that did inform the teacher who would become?
I'm sure it's all connected. It's funny because everybody has trauma in some capacity that shapes them, and they have to correct it or transform it or deal with it or heal it. My upbringing was, like you tested to, there was nothing significant. I was like, oh, that set me on a course. I just didn't really know who I was or what I was supposed to do with my life. And later in life, when I got to Wall Street and all that stuff, that's when I started to experience rock bottoms and heartbreak and disappointment and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm sure there were certain things that I experienced in my childhood that shaped me and set me on a specific path. But to be honest with you, what's a little weird is I feel like I've had two lives. Well, at least in this incarnation, right? And that is after I reinvented myself and then everything prior. And a lot of the stuff from my upbringing, I vaguely remember. I wonder if that's on purpose, subconsciously. I'm not sure. I'm willing to go as deep as you want today, but some of it's a blur.
I totally agree. I told you I resonate so deeply with that part of your story and also the before and after sort of segments of your life. Maybe it is two separate incarnations, who knows? But ultimately there was a before. For me, it was before the Rav and after the Rav, and many transformative big experiences of just deep study in which I did get to know myself. So I really, really resonate with that. But then let's talk about the Wall Street chapter and manifesting the wrong kind of success, which ultimately does bring on the correction. You used the term to correct, the correction as well. Can you talk a little bit about how that starts to basically sharpen and refine to this day?
Yeah, so building upon what we just discussed, I didn't wake up and know what I wanted to do with my life, like play for the Yankees or, be an architect. So I graduated college. I was butting heads with my mom because I was still living at home. And I was like, I got to figure something out. To be honest with you, when I look back at college, it was fun. And it's cool to be on your own for the first time. At least that was my first time. I learned responsibility. But I didn't learn a whole lot. Maybe that's on me. Maybe the curriculum just didn't really grab me. I'm not sure. But anyway, I had to do something. I was pretty ambitious, and I always was infatuated with stocks. So I went to Wall Street, took my exams, and at that moment, I also stumbled on personal development, specifically NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And I started to understand that, wait a minute, I could actually build confidence, I could expand myself, I could look at the world differently, and I started to become very, quote unquote, successful. I started to rise to the top of my firm, which had about 200 veteran brokers, and I started to learn a couple great qualities: discipline, consistency, hard work. Those traits I carried with me for the rest of my life. But I think Wall Street is when I really started to become a man. And ultimately, at that season, I defined success because I didn't know what I didn't know as financial gain, money, status. And so I wanted nice things. I wanted a really pretty girlfriend. I wanted a really nice apartment in New York City. I wanted more money. And I don't regret anything because I didn't know any better and I was expanding myself. It's just that, as everybody at some point that's on that trajectory realizes, none of that stuff, no matter how much you accumulate, will ever create fulfillment. So it was a lot of onto this one, move the goalpost back onto this goal, and a lot of emptiness. And also, look, the energy around Wall Street, at least from my experience, it's a little bit different. It's very tied to the ego. And so at some point, I began to outgrow that as I begin to redefine success in my own life.
Does the catharsis begin to happen around your dad getting sick, the relationship that you were in with a pretty girl not being all that you wanted? Where does the catharsis really start driving you deeper?
So Wall Street was a lot of fun until it wasn't, because I got really good at it and I was utilizing all this personal development that first of all, I became obsessed with it. Like every night I go to sleep listening to YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Some of those people are my friends now, like Eric Thomas, Goggins, all those people. And I was just so, quote unquote, motivated. And so I started to do very well, but it comes with a lot of stress in that environment. So I left that and I started my own company, basically providing like loans and high interest working capital to businesses across the country. Very lucrative, but not why we're here, not why I'm here. And at some point, between feeling like a gladiator in the wrong arena, ending a toxic relationship, which obviously is always a blessing in disguise, but can be painful at the time. And then my dad, my best friend, who was always much older, like it was always like a running joke, he would never tells his age. He got sick out of quote unquote, out of nowhere. He had a stroke, and then they did more testing, and they found lung cancer. He's still battling. They gave him a really negative prognosis, but see, the thing is, you can't measure spirit.
No, you can't. No.
So all that happened at once. And look, when you wake up every day and you force yourself to be inauthentic and go be passionate about something that you're not connected to, eventually you burn out. And that's what happened to me. And I came to a rock bottom moment.
It's so true. It basically wears you all the way down. You also did something interesting. So not only do we all have sort of trauma that even if we don't acknowledge it, we sort of understand it because we're meandering for a while and then we finally catapult ourselves. But many of the teachers here have had a spin-off first and then they're calling.
Is that right?
And I like to think that the spin-off has to happen. It's the springboard. It's the soul starting to provoke something in you and you don't quite know what it is, and you can't until you feel your way through there and understand, ooh, I get it. So there's elements here that are working for me, but there's elements that have to go now.
I like it.
Right? Yeah.
For sure. Look, at some point your soul begins to realize, okay, I'm contracting here. We need to go expand. Doesn't mean the first thing is going to be the thing. It might be the thing that leads to the thing.
It is. I say this a lot of the time to my clients. Like, it's okay that something's very sexy to you right now. It's probably a benchmark. In other words, it's the way on the way to. Kind of like the last guy I dated before Ryan.
A rebound.
Exactly.
Literally,
he was a delicious amuse-bouche. He was yum-yums, but he was not Ryan.
Yum-yums.
Exactly.
I was literally thinking of the word, rebound.
Yeah.
When you get out of a
Rebound.
relationship, which is usually like the bridge between the one.
They are bridges. They are. We should thank them.
That's great.
Speaking of bridges, running. How does running factor into the beginning of this?
Yeah, so we're in alignment with the timeline right now.
Yeah.
So rock bottom's happening. I felt like I was suffocating on Wall Street. All these things happened in my personal life, and I was looking for anything to just ignite a spark in my life, like relocate my spirit.
Yeah.
And so, because coming full circle, I didn't have some crazy trauma that I had to overcome when I was growing up. I needed to create a lot of discomfort at that moment. And so I signed up for the New York City Marathon in 2018. which was a huge stretch for me because back then you couldn't pay me to run. I like to lift weights and work out.
It's amazing.
Pay me? I mean, run? You kidding me? And so for me, it was like basically like a divine whisper, like we need to do something right now. And so running kind of found me.
Yeah.
I signed up for the marathon, and just to be able to be the type of cat that can run a marathon at pretty well, you have to accumulate new traits, new disciplines. So maybe eating better,
Eating different, yeah.
going to sleep earlier, maybe not drinking as much, and so forth. And so I started to become better soul, and then I fell in love with it. And I've run 8 marathons since, and I love what the sport represents. For me, it's all mental, and it's, the term that we use in Kabbalah is the opponent, right? It's being able to restrict, to give into that temptation and overcome it. So every time I run, it's like a different experience, but I'm always expanding. There's so much that goes into it. It's beautiful. So that was kind of, once the rock bottom was happening, running gave me that confidence that I could do anything. I just didn't know what it was yet.
Yes, you were beginning to integrate. I love that you mentioned the opponent. I love many concepts from Kabbalah and NLP concepts and ideas and exercises, and of course concepts from the law of attraction. Can you talk a little bit about some of the concepts you're discovering at the same time as you're building this cornerstone habit that will allow you to become better and stretch you, that start basically crystallizing through your life experience as you go through this?
Yeah.
So that I can tell you how much I love them too?
For sure. So for me, NLP, that was like where it all started for me. I have such a soft spot for NLP, even though right now
it was my first rite of passage.
Is that right?
Too. Yes, absolutely.
One of my favorite modalities. Right now, I'm really big into obviously Kabbalah, which is my thing, and then taking a certification right now, which we'll probably get into a little bit with core energy coaching.
Mm-hmm.
But NLP for me helped me realize that the world isn't actually what it is. It's our lens or frame of the world.
That's right.
And based upon how we choose to view it, we create an entirely different experience, right? So at rock bottom, if I'm only victim mentality, looking at everything with the glass half empty, poor me, then I'm just gonna keep attracting that stuff. But if I decide to upgrade my frame of perspective, now all of a sudden it's like, all right, well, now there's only one way to go. What are we interested in? Now is the best time. And so just being able to change your perspective. Also, there's a technique called modeling, which is beautiful.
Yes.
Especially for anybody that lacks confidence. You can create a list of people that you hold in high regard,
Yes.
or maybe that you are role models to you, and you can begin to model some of their attributes. And I just want to be clear, because this isn't inauthentic. It's just you don't possess these traits right now. You're looking to expand, so borrow them from someone that you hold in high regard until you embody and become that. And so those 2 traits stick out that were very helpful for me.
I really love that last one, modeling in particular. For those who are listening who are obsessed with law of attraction like me, you may be familiar with the term expanders, and it's almost exactly the same thing. You are looking to someone who's a little farther ahead in the journey or represents something that you truly want, and you start to essentially emulate them. It's not copycatting,
Yeah.
it's not nothing like that. It's literally about the expansion within you of your own desire, or as the Rav in Kabbalah would say, your vessel, so that you can receive more light. It's such a beautiful thing. I want to talk about core energy. Another thing that's come up a lot in this series where I get to talk to really masterful teachers is we're all junkies of new learning. We are students for the rest of our life.
For
So
sure.
it doesn't surprise me. Of course, I saw on your Instagram that you just got a new
Yeah.
certification. Can you tell me about that? Because I'd love to hear about what core energy is.
Yeah, so taking a certification in a coaching program called IPEC. It's funny because
IPEC, IPEC?
IPEC.
Yes,
yeah.
of course. They are one of the major accreditors of coaches in the country
Yeah.
before ICF.
That's right. And so no one ever asked me if I was certified, so it's not something that I need to do. I have huge clients and it doesn't affect my business, but just like you just tested to, I want to keep growing. I believe that when you do what we do, and when you teach in some capacity, you have to be working on yourself 10 times harder.
Totally.
And so I just wanted to keep expanding. So I leaned into this. It's maybe a 9-month certification. We had a 30-hour module last weekend. It's all about core energy coaching. So basically, one of the concepts is that there's 7 different levels of energy, with 1 being victim mentality,
Yeah.
7 being like transcendence, no judgment, only creation. To be able to bring people, without them even really realizing, to shift their energy from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. And then when they're in a higher energy, now they're more available to do anything that it is that they desire. But when they're a lower energy, they can't do anything.
Yes.
So to be able to bring them to different levels, to give them access to what they're really capable of. So that's what I'm learning right now, and it's a game changer. It's unbelievable. I love it.
It really is. One of Tony Robbins' most masterful sessions ever was with this exact concept. I don't think he called it core energy, but I've also heard it as the vibrational scale, which is what Abraham Hicks
Sure.
uses. If I find it, I'm going to link it below, because everybody should just watch what happens in real time. It's truly breathtaking to be able to identify someone's state and to be able to also help them to transmute that state.
That's right.
It's so exciting to also be with another. I don't know that it's common to all teachers to want to be 10 times stronger in the knowledge. I think that it's particular to those who are truly interested in being the best. And I don't think our ambition is the same as other people's ambition anymore, certainly not for material things. It literally is to want to serve at the highest level.
Right.
And if you want to serve at the highest level, you got to have some knowledge, right?
To use a term that I know you're familiar with, to bring people closer to the light, to really help them access and share their magic with the world, we have to utilize our tools to become 10 times more powerful, to be able to bring them closer. And so if we're not doing that, eventually our students will be capped on what they can actually learn from us. But as long as we're continuously work, it's like a pitcher. So you're pouring it, the student's here and the teacher's here. Sometimes the student thinks they're over here and they have an ego, won't work. But if the teacher is always going like this, then the student can always get poured into. It never stops.
It never stops, exactly. As we expand, they expand.
That's right.
And would you also recommend this non-traditional learning path for entrepreneurs, not just teachers?
The IPEC?
Yeah, well, all learning and expansion.
It's a good question. I don't think you can learn enough. I know that a lot of the spirituality, which some people that study the wisdom that we do, they're a little reluctant to share about it, use some of the terminology. For me, I'm not, because it's done so much for my life. I can't share it enough. I think people have to try new things and gravitate towards what they feel connected to, right? So NLP, when my vessel was so big, that was my thing. As I began to expand, I became attracted to the law of attraction and eventually Kabbalah and other things. So I'm not sure. I think you have to find what resonates with you. I don't think you could learn enough. The problem is when people think that they know it all.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. And it informs a kind of myopia. And like, they won't allow themselves to expand into areas that they have already decided are not for them. But yeah, I think as you get a little bit more into this work, you get more esoteric and more soft and more relaxed, which brings me to your values. You speak about so many core values frequently. For example, integrity and vulnerability and courage. And I also love that you talk a lot about the importance of sense of humor. Mm-hmm. How critical have these been to you, your teaching, and to your enormous success as a podcaster?
Yeah, well, those are great ones. Integrity, I mean, that's not negotiable, right? Whether it's an employee, a teammate, a partner, a business partner, a friend, a colleague, even someone you're collaborating with. If they're not in integrity, for me, it's not clean. And I know, because look, I wasn't always the way I am now. And just to be clear, I have a lot of room to grow. But when you don't have integrity, for me, there's nothing that can like make that okay. I'm not interested.
I couldn't agree more. You know, Warren Buffett, who I like to tell people is my grandfather, says that you're only looking for 3 qualities in people: enthusiasm, intelligence, and integrity. And he says if they don't have the third one, the first 2 are very malicious. And I couldn't agree more. I think integrity is the only one that matters. Sense of humor definitely helps.
That's a good word. Sense of humor is the best. I mean, some people tell me that I come across as very intense, but like the people that really know me, like I love to giggle, laugh. Like me, my brother, and my wife, like we have belly laughs and crying, can't control it. I love to have a sense of humor, and I love to be weird. And I just think that's so important. I love to laugh.
Yeah, it allows you. I've also noticed that if you're funny, you can get away with almost anything. For example, I did a hedge fund summit just a couple of weeks ago, just really serious men in the room. You can not challenge them head on, but if you say it funny, they're going to hear what you're saying. If you make fun of them, they'll hear it.
It's true. That type of delivery.
Exactly.
Is
The
well
delivery
received.
really, really works. Your platform is so multi-tenanted. How do you actually specifically help people? At what point do you create a methodology? And then what is that methodology that you use principally now to guide people from A to Z?
It's so funny because you mentioned the 3 R's before, and I remember when I wrote that book, I was so into that, and now 2 years later, I'm like,
By the way, the first method I wrote, 3 R's.
really?
Swear to God.
That's awesome. So I've evolved so much since then. That was like a lot of NLP stuff.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing the IPEC right now, because I'm learning all their methodology, which is, for me, it's the most precise, game-changing modality that I've seen. And I've been experimenting and utilizing it, and people are like, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah.
Like they're stepping into something totally different. So I think it's very important. Also, our business is growing tremendously. I coach a lot of high-level people. We also have a big community. It's called the CLS membership. We have 1,000 people in there. So I coach one-to-many. We just launched a new program, which is in between. It's called Level 2.
I love that.
Obviously, I speak all over. I do all these. We run these master classes once a month and then courses. So the question is well, how do we scale this thing so that I can help more people? Because the one-on-one is my favorite. It's the deepest. And those particular clients or students that I attract for one-on-one, as you know, it's just a different level. Like they take it a little bit more seriously. You don't have to babysit them. It's awesome. But there's only so much time in the day.
I know.
So you mentioned Tony Robbins before. Like he has people underneath him. So maybe that's the next logical step. And they have a framework or the
If it's
CLS
your authentic
methodology.
path, sure.
Right, it's the methodology. But also the Kabbalah. I use a lot of the principles and I make it my own, like I Craigify it, if you will.
You Craigify it.
And so people understand it. Between that and the IPAC, I'm seeing people have the biggest breakthroughs I've ever seen. It's unbelievable.
I think that's tremendous. The having of a framework, and this is one of the reasons I encourage teachers to get proper certification and to get various certifications. First, because when you're multidisciplinary, you can check for yourself what you do like, what you don't like. You can Craigify some stuff, you can leave some stuff in the garbage. The other reason is because frameworks work and frameworks scale. And at some point, you will latch on to a framework or synthesize something into a framework that really works for you. My framework is at this point so solid that we can move it again and again and again and again. And that's transformative for me and transformative for my clients.
Systems work, right?
Systems
even
work.
like a not great workout routine will work if you're following the routine. So systems work 100%, and if you triple down on it, make it your own, and really perfect it, 100% creates breakthroughs.
Since you just touched on it, and how much one-on-one you do and how much you love one-on-one, and since I do one-on-one every single day for at least 6 hours a day, because unfortunately I've been quite successful, I also know the other side of success, and that's something that I really admire that you talk about openly, which is this is a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I think that people either give you one or the other. Can you say more about how it's actually both?
That's the biggest misconception there is. But first of all, is this work? Are me and you working right now?
Everybody keeps telling me
Kind
this
of,
must
right?
be such a hard day for you, and I'm like, with Craig in this living room, I think I'm fine.
This is one of my favorite things is podcasts, and yet that's work, quote unquote work. So one thing I realized, the whole work-life balancing I don't know what that means. Work-life integration,
Yes.
right? So you've built a life for yourself where you can go away, you can be with your family, you can experience a beautiful life, and if need be, you could also do a little work at the same time, because you're not married to it or chained to a desk. So it is a lot of work. If you want to do anything really meaningful in this world while you're here, there's a lot of work, right? Because if it just came to you, then we'd have bread of shame. We can get into that, and it would be unearned and so forth. So
Tell them what bread of shame is.
it gets easier because you can scale and delegate, and you'll have help. So like when you're just starting something, maybe a one-woman show, of course. But in regards to bread of shame, really cool concept in Kabbalah, basically says unearned light.
Yes.
Right, so think of like lottery winners that didn't have the vessel.
Yes.
They got the lottery. What happened? Overflowing. They can't contain it. Sometimes drug use, suicide, all these crazy things. They end up worse off before they even got the money.
That's right.
Because they didn't have the capacity to receive it. And so I've experienced that too in the beginning of Wall Street. So that's why it's so important to do the work so that you could build the vessel to match the desire.
Yes.
So it's sustainable.
Exactly. Exactly. One of my favorite concepts in all of Kabbalah is bread of shame. And I especially like how Eitan Yardeni pronounces it bread of shame. You know, it sounds much more serious this way. Um, this brings me to your life's mission, which seems to me to be two things. Go all in and find your purpose. Do you think that it's
Great.
more than that? What do you see as your mission?
Are we talking like as a collective, like humanity, or like mine specifically? Or maybe both?
To be honest, I think that if you do one, you're doing the other.
So, yes, those are two big things I talk about a lot because I have a lot of experience playing small. And even though I was quote unquote successful at that season, making money, all the things, I wasn't tapping into my real potential or my unique gifts that were given to me. And so many people, even when we were doing our TED Talk, I was doing the homework. I was so alarmed that the stat is that only 20% of Americans actually find purpose in the work that they do. That means 80% of people are arguably miserable. And I believe it because I was one of those cats for a very long time.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's
So-
a tremendous thing, isn't it?
So why do we settle? I mean, if we break it down, there's a fear of some sort. What is the fear? Is it you fear of failure? Are you fear of success? Are you people going to judge you? What is it? And what are the core thoughts that are creating those feelings? And then once we can acknowledge those and then choose to let go of them, try on some new thoughts and beliefs, then you're more willing to actually chase your dreams. And so, yes, I want people to not play small. I want them to identify what their unique gifts are that were given to them, actualize them and share them with the world in a big way. And I always make a point to say, and unapologetically make a lot of money doing so. And do great stuff with the money.
I think I could have guessed what your purpose was when you were younger.
Mine?
Yes.
What?
Because you love movies.
I do love movies.
I think people who love movies to the extent that you love movies, like you totally nerd out on movies, and particularly the kind of movies that you love, from The Matrix to The Greatest Showman, which, let's be honest, is the greatest movie ever made. And the theme, this is the greatest show, come on.
P.T. Barnum.
It's everything you ever want. You wanted expression. You really wanted to understand and to express and to entertain. And if you had just followed that preference or that hunch all the way, you would have found your way here. Of course, you would have found your way here anyway because it's destiny. But that's what I would have guessed anyway.
Movies was my thing. Still is. I love it very much. I found a different way to entertain and also help. So maybe this is the blessing and the best of both worlds.
Speaking of the best of both worlds, your evolution personally also impacts enormously how you teach and how you show up. You are recently married to the lovely Alessia.
That's right. You say her name right.
Well, thank you.
Most people do not.
I have heard you mention her name. So technically I didn't know how to pronounce it, but we've actually spoken about this a lot. Teachers have spoken among themselves off camera and also on camera about just how essential it is and how game-changing it is for us to find not just a partner, but a great partner. What has this done for you?
Allows you to go to another level that you just can't get to without the right partner. Number one, if you're with the wrong partner, that's the worst because then you don't have a clean home. And that will rub off into other areas of your life. Like you can't be successful here and have a crappy home life there. Being single is okay. Don't settle 100%. But the right partner, the right soulmate that can trigger you in a proactive way to challenge you to get to another level, you have to have a partner for that, in my personal opinion.
You know, the first time I ever heard about soulmates spoken that way was in Kabbalah. I remember David Guillaume saying that the only way to get to the next level of your soul is through a soulmate, and that is the purpose of soulmate love. I wasn't very receptive to the idea at the time because I was recently divorced and I thought, no way, being single is way better than this nonsense again. But now I completely understand it, and I truly believe everybody has a right to fulfill this mission in life because it's the greatest one. It's the one that will reveal the most about yourself. I'm so happy for you that you have found this and a great puppy.
And a great puppy. I want to ask you something. What do you think about the idea of having soulmates in different capacities?
The Rav said that that is possible. In other words, there are different evolutions, but ultimately that there is one. They're essentially twin flames, so they're there to instigate the next level, but the soulmate is the one with whom you will do the real deep work and the unending work. Because he explained that the rubbing against each other, the refining each other is not going to be aggressive or hard. It will be delightful and expansive.
Well said. Yeah.
I listened very carefully.
I see that.
I love the Rav. What is lighting you up right now? You have so much going on.
I do. Honestly, what I'm most lit up about right now is being here in Austin with you. And this is an awesome conversation, straight up. Just want to be present in this moment, enjoy it, hopefully deliver a lot of value for your community, for your audience. That's the goal. Aside from that, just signed up for a marathon in December, which I haven't publicly announced. Might as well do it here. It's called CIM. It's in Sacramento in December. I've been running New York City the last couple of years. I want to do something a little bit different.
Have good weather.
Yeah,
Did you know there's a Disney marathon?
I did, yeah. Someone was talking about that recently.
Supposed to be super fun.
That's cool, yeah. And then obviously the certification. The brand is exploding, and we're hiring right now.
Great.
We just hired someone this week. So look, we're hiring good people, great people. That's been a challenge for me, and now I finally feel like I have the supporting cast that I really need that can match my design other lanes to really get to another stratosphere.
This probably means that you've reached another level too.
Definitely.
A
for
relaxed level, because we never hire well when we're still crazy.
That's true. Are we ever totally not crazy?
Yeah, I've met some very not crazy people.
Really?
Congratulations to them. I think they have a different capacity.
Right.
Yeah.
I just love life. I'm so lucky and blessed because I wasn't always like this. Like I used to look forward to the weekends, hate Monday. Now I love this stuff.
Yeah.
And the cool people I get to meet like you. Like, what's better than this? To actually do something meaningful with your life and make a difference, make a lot of money and be around cool people. It's the best. I think the idea is how much bigger can we do this? Like
Exactly.
how many more people can we help transform?
The better it gets, the better it gets.
I love that.
The
quote.
definition of success is, Jessica Zweig said peace. I don't disagree, but my favorite definition is Esther Hicks, satisfied with what is and eager for more. That's ultimate presence. It's such an exciting way to just live.
It's like the law of detachment.
Yes.
Being able to be all in and yet not attached to the outcome. That's beautiful.
It's a perfect place to end this conversation, which has been most illuminating. Craig, where can people find you other than CLS and all the other links that we will provide below to your work? What do you think people should be invited to really introduce themselves to you?
We just had a live event in New York City, May 15th. It was amazing. We had 60 people fly in from all across the country. We had a VIP dinner. It was just a crazy energy. Now we're doing another one,
Great.
October 23rd.
Terrific.
New moon of Scorpio, strongest day of the year. That's what my Kabbalah teacher told me. And I'm very excited about it. It's a different type of energy. The idea is to scale it, but keep the energy intimate. A lot of spirituality, business, really, really good people there. If it's not sold out yet by the time this drops, I would highly encourage people to try to get in the room. Okay. And then if you like anything you heard today, you could text me at 917-634-3796 and text the name Keren so I know you heard it here.
I love that. That's so exciting and so funny. And I love that you go so intimate. I also know that this is going to be a tremendous success. You know, October 23rd is going to be very easy for me to remember because that's the night of the debut of the second season of Nobody Wants This with Hot Rabbi. Did you watch the show?
No.
It's adorable.
Did you say Hot Rabbi?
Hot Rabbi.
Where is this?
He's the character on the show.
Where?
Netflix.
Sounds unbelievable.
Two shiksas fall magically in love with
I gotta
anyone.
check it out.
It's fantastic. I want to thank you so much, Craig, for your honesty, for bringing so much fire, for bringing so much dynamism, for your tremendous generosity in being here. It's been a really illuminating conversation. It's going to stay with me for a very long time.
Thank you so much for having me. Can I ask you one thing before we hop off?
You bet.
What are you most jazzed about right now?
The same thing you are. I really like what I'm doing right now. I kind of don't like that answer because it makes me feel like I'm becoming complacent again. I'm one of those people who can become very, very comfortable, very relaxed very quickly. Mm-hmm. But I can't tell you how well this year is going, and it's almost like a dream. So at this point, I just can't say anything other than thank you, and I'll have some more.
On that, when you fulfill a desire, which you've been doing, can that hurt you at all? Because it's almost like your vessel is full. Now you're not as hungry for the next thing. Like, how do you, when you're in the pursuit and you are manifesting desires, stay as hungry and as expansive for the next desire?
I don't really need to do anything because of the opponent. You mentioned the opponent here, or the concept of Satan. Satan is not a devil with horns. That's a nonsensical depiction created by
Hollywood
the
style.
Gentiles. Exactly. Satan in Hebrew means the opponent. The opponent will creep in anyway. I don't have to lift a finger, but and contrast will come back into my life. Challenges will come back into my life, and those will call me to the next level. It's actually, that's why I don't enjoy complacency too much, because I start to become a little numb to, or a little fearful of disruption. But when it comes, I hope I'll meet it again with okay, welcome back. Nice to see you.
Thank goodness, because then it's time for the next
Exactly.
level. Well said.
The Rav always told me that when a very big challenge happens, for example, when you experience a fire and all my stuff burned in a fire, or when both my cats died, which was horrific, he always said, and it was the weirdest thing when he used to do that, he said, go to the bar and buy everybody a shot because favor is coming.
Really?
And I became really addicted to that. I started to understand that massive contrast in my life was a sign that favor was coming. So, all right.
Most people can't have that consciousness
That's NLP too.
while they're going through it.
Yeah. Well, he conditioned me very well.
I see that.
Shout out to Guillaume. It was a real pleasure to meet you today. Thank you for your generosity in teaching. I hope, dear listener, that you have also found this episode as invaluable as we have. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you on the next episode of Coaching Masters. And remember, if you love this show, like, subscribe, review us. We'll see you next time.